So good morning, everybody. Let's see. Today I want to talk, I don't know what I want to talk about yet, so I'm just going to talk and see what happens. So they're talking about reopening a little bit of San Diego. People are going to be allowed to actually walk on the beach. You can't sit on the beach, but you can walk on the beach starting on Monday. But they're also telling people that masks are going to be mandatory. And it's interesting, right before class I was on Facebook and involved in a discussion where there seems to be a lot of fear about having to wear a mask. It's very interesting, and just this whole concept of, as a society, of people wearing masks. And I suppose I get it in a way, because if you cover up your face holes, your nose and your mouth, then you can't see expression as easily. You know, some people you can tell they're happy just by their eyes, but most people, it's a mystery. It's like, what are they thinking? I can't read your face because it's covered. And so I think that's part of the fear. And also there's this fear running around because we don't know how long we need to do these things. There's no end date. Right? Even they announced, the partial opening of the beaches where you can swim or use the water, or you can walk or run on the beach, but you can't sit. So you gotta stay in motion the whole time you're on the beach. You can't use the parking lots. And they kept saying, well, this is just phase 1. And then phase 2 will open up a little bit more, but they don't have a date for phase 2. So then there's this whole ripple of fear of like, well, I don't know how long I'm going to have to do this. How long am I going to have to wear a mask? How long am I going to not be able to sit on the beach? And it's interesting because as spiritual practitioners, we actively engage and seek out the unknown. It's not uncommon for us to sit on the edge, not knowing what's going to happen when. That's what we do every time we go into meditation, right? As we sit and we begin by concentrating and focusing. But once we have our concentration, we let go into that unknown. We release and we just open and experience whatever's there. And we don't know how long it will last, any sensation that arises, any experience that we have. We don't know what it will be, and we don't know how long it will last. And so our practice has definitely trained us for this time, this moment in time. And so as all the other people in the world start to freak out because they're on the edge for the very first time, and they're all, well, how long is this going to be? How long do I have to sit on the edge? When can I jump off? And what's going to happen when I jump off? And it's so easy for us to get caught up in their fear, in their feelings, and forget that, oh, wait a minute, I live on this edge. And this isn't a big deal. It's like, oh, I need to wear a mask? That's fine. I can wear a mask for a while and experience life behind the mask, See what it's like to walk around and breathe like Darth Vader. And play and explore, well, what is it like when I wear, the bandana mask? What is it like when I have the piece of cloth that I fold with the hair ties? What is it? Should I get really crafty and make a mask? And then, should I spend the money and buy a mass manufactured mask? And so as people on the path, we approach these things with this curiosity and almost a little bit of excitement of like, oh boy, something new to explore and play with and see what life is like. And then as we're walking around in the grocery store looking at other people wearing their masks, we can watch the different thoughts that come up in our mind. You know, especially when you see, oh, that guy's not wearing a mask. Judgment of like, you bad person spreading your germs. And then the mischievous thought of, well, they're not wearing a mask. Maybe I don't need to wear a mask. And all the whole range that appears. So we can use these situations to fine-tune our mindfulness and to really notice where we're getting hung up. How are we getting caught in judgment of others? How are we getting caught up in the psychic sponge part of us, where we're feeling everybody else's fear and concern? And how fast can we return to our own center and understand what it is that we need to do in that moment? And I think this whole situation really amplifies how much people really want a playbook. They really want the instruction manual. You know, and I don't know if that's because of our educational system. You know, we were conditioned to believe that there is an instruction manual. Like, you go to kindergarten and you learn how to play with one another. You go to first grade and you learn about language and letters and numbers. And then there's this whole progression. And somebody has it laid out, and you can look it up, and you can say, okay, this is where I am. And then these are all the things I'm going to learn. And as we get older, as we mature, we realize that, oh, wait a minute, that whole playbook that we've lived our lives by, somebody just made it up. It's not real. It's not set in stone. It was just somebody's idea of how it should be. And that's terrifying, because if we realize that there is no playbook, then we have to admit that, wait a minute, I don't know what's going on. I don't know where I am on the map. Wait, there is no map. So how could I know where I am? And this situation with this virus and the quarantines and the restrictions, and knowing that the people who are supposedly in charge don't know. And because we have the technology that we do, we see very clearly that those who are in charge really don't know, because they're in front of us every day. We're not waiting for a newspaper or to come out. We're not waiting for a proclamation to be, hammered on the tree that's been carefully crafted to allay our fears. Instead, we have people up there talking on all these different venues, all saying conflicting things. And as we look at that, we realize that, wait a minute, none of them really knows what's going on. And the smart ones actually admit that. They say, hey, we're still learning. We're still figuring it out. And this is what we think is happening. This is what the correlations that we found, like with the masks. I just posted an article that I came across of a hospital in Boston, and their staff had a very high rate of transmission of the disease, of this virus. And finally, somebody came up with the idea, well, hey, instead of just having, the doctors and the nurses wear masks, why don't we have everybody wear masks? So you come into the hospital, you wear the mask. If you're a custodian, you wear a mask. If you're a receptionist, you wear a mask. Every single person wears a mask. And what they found was very quickly, within a week, their new cases of employees who got the virus, like, dramatically dropped. Like, I forget the exact percentages, so I won't quote, but it was a significant difference with the increases of cases that were happening outside of the hospital. So in the general population, the cases are going up and up and up. But then at the hospital, it's like they were going up at the same rate, and then all of a sudden they stop. And they're going up very, very slowly now. So, well, that's not a pure scientific study. It shows a correlation. So we're learning, and we can take this information that we learn and play with it. But because all of these people in society are sitting on the edge for the first time, it's really hard for them to embrace that sense of playfulness, to remember that we never knew what was going on. There was never a playbook for anything. You know, we had these ideas, we have certain social agreements that allow things to work, but really nothing is fixed. Nothing is set in stone. There is no how it's supposed to be. And that is the notion that is causing so much suffering right now, is this idea of how things are supposed to be, right? It's like we look at how much society has changed in the past month, where so many people are stuck in their homes being told, don't go out. And now we're being told, okay, you can go out, but you got to cover your face. And there's that part of us that says, well, no, it's not supposed to be that way. It's not supposed to be. And we get stuck in that loop, because what comes next is you say, well, it's not supposed to be that way. I want it to be this way. And then that flood of desire, of that personal wanting, and all of the ideas in your own mind that are arising out of your conditioned states start to press on you, and there develops this intense longing for things to be other than they are. And then you're suffering. And you're not conscious anymore of where you actually are, which is sitting on this little ledge, not knowing what's going to happen next, how long you're going to be there, what is going to happen. So I want to invite you to come back to the ledge. Come back to that place of curiosity, that place of openness. You know, and be aware, you know, the people right next to you are all freaking out saying, wait, it's not supposed to be this way. And then that part of you that's like, yeah, you're right, it's not supposed to be this way. And watch yourself get caught in the loop. And then very gently come back to the ledge and be like, oh yeah, yep, we're stuck on the ledge. Don't know how long, don't know what's coming next. And you know what? That's kind of okay, because I can just allow myself to be curious and open and be aware of what might come next, what actually is coming next. So, like I said, I want to invite you to have that playfulness. So if the game now is to wear masks, have fun with it, play with it, enjoy it, encourage others to play. Compliment them on their masks. Say, wow, that's a really cool mask. I like the pattern of your bandana. And we can be supportive in that way. You know, as a species, as we sit on this edge of the unknown, there is such freedom. We know this, those of us that walk the spiritual path, because we come out onto this ledge of the unknown and we let go of everything. And what that does is it opens us to the possibility of everything. So for many people in the world right now, they're on this ledge of the unknown for the first time, possibly in their lives. And they feel like everything's just being taken away and taken away and taken away. And that can generate a lot of fear. But if we can get past the fear and just accept that this is where I am right now on this ledge, everything's completely unknown. After that acceptance kind of seeps in to every pore, you can open your eyes and suddenly appreciate what's left. What are the possibilities that are within reach? And it's quite possible that they were always there, but you were too busy with all the other things that you didn't notice them. And then there might be things that really weren't there before, options that were not available before. But in this moment of sitting on the ledge of uncertainty, where everything's been ripped away from us. You know, many people are not working, and especially in this country, our job is tied very closely to our identity. And a whole segment of the population is now working at home for the first time. And so their identity has shifted. There's still that sliver of like, no, this is how I'm supposed to be. It's that supposed to be again. That drives us into misery. But if we can fully accept that we don't know, fully accept that uncertainty, then we have this tremendous freedom to just be what needs to be in this moment, without worrying about how we used to be, how we could be, or how we're supposed to be. Instead, just really let yourself drop everything and just ask yourself, who am I right now? And allow yourself to open and act in accordance with whatever it is that needs to be done in that moment. Let it just bubble up and happen through you. And I think you'll be very surprised.